Whoa, guys! Okay, breaking news. I was just watching Treehouse Live, and they were doing the Arms Invitational, and they were showing off some other games, back and forth kind of things. And they just announced Wii Music HD for the Switch. What do you guys think of this?
No, I don't know, man. I'm gonna look this up.
Well,
I was watching. I saw it, but I'll let Eli go first. I could not. Oh.
What the hell? My God. They could actually spend their time on games that people want. They thank God they have Metroid this year, but if they could put out like literally any other game that people would actually spend money on, then maybe people would like Nintendo a little bit more instead of spending their money developing bullshit like this.
I don't know. I think you're kind of downplaying the audience of Wii Music. I mean, Kylie, you have some kids, right? You'd probably be interested in this.
Yeah, and what I'm remembering from whenever I played hours and hours of the original Wii Music, the one thing I wish they had was HD graphics. So this is actually a huge win for me.
I know. I actually that's crazy that you played that much of it. I played the first one, but I mainly only played the tambourine missions, I have to admit, because that was like the only ones I thought were really fun. But I'm seeing that they've actually added a lot of like rhythm instruments in the video. So I'm actually, I know, Eli, that's not your type of game or whatever, but I'm tentatively interested. HD makes it better, right?
Yeah, definitely. It looks pretty innovative.
Well, I guess, I just went on VG charts. Now, obviously, this data isn't like 100% accurate. They revise their numbers once they get the updated figures. But it looks like the original Wii Music sold more than 3 million units. So, I don't know. I guess there's a market for it. You also have that problem where the Switch doesn't have the name Wii in it, so a lot of people might not know it's from Nintendo. So having a Wii Music game on it might help familiarize people with the fact that this is a Nintendo console. So I don't know. I guess I could see the appeal, and if it's just one Wii game, then we could try it out and see where it goes. But yeah, it's not a game for me, obviously. But looking at these sales numbers, I could see why they would take the gamble.
Yeah. I know I will probably buy it. Matt buys everything. Kylie, you sound like you're on board. You played a lot of the original.
I actually already have my pre-order in, yeah.
Wow, they already have pre-orders up for this?
All right, joke's gone on long enough.
Okay, I didn't know how long I could
but yeah,
my laughter.
I was waiting for a good
bullshit that we're
window.
spewing.
I was waiting for a good window to like stop. Oh man, I had to hold back some laughter during that. That was that was actually pulled off really well. Congrats to all of you. Seemed realistic.
Well done.
Fake news.
Oh man. So this is our podcast, Just Another Castle. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week is our resident gaming journalist, Eli.
How's it going, everyone? In fact, we do not have Wii Music too, so I'm doing pretty well.
Our retro aficionado, Unoclay.
So why did you shoot me?
You can't destroy these Metroids.
What up, Metroids?
Nice. And we have a super special guest this week, Kylie. I guess IGN is KylieMale, but Kylie.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you on.
KylieMale from IGN?
Yep.
the one and only.
That's amazing.
You better kneel and grovel, Unoclay. Like, geez, come on.
Yeah, for back history, KylieMale, if I'm saying your handle correctly, because I've never said it out loud that much, we go way back, right?
Yeah.
How many years do you think we corresponded on my IGN for a long time?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, a long time. I think I remember you were maybe Spotlight on the front page, and then we hooked up, followed each other since then, and then we always commented on each other's blog posts and hung out a lot on there.
Kylie, I would say, with all sincerity, wrote some of the coolest Nintendo-oriented blogs on the site, and it was a natural fit. We would talk back and forth. I think we did a couple blogs together, and I can't quite remember what the topics were. This is literally like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It went to the ghost town of my IGN not too long ago to try to find some of those old blogs, and sadly, I think they're all gone.
I haven't tried to look at mine.
Yeah, I don't think they're like deleted, but there's definitely like connection issues. I actually archived my blogs a while ago, and then like shortly, like a month after that, I tried to like access them, and they're like, nope. So
it's just sad.
Yeah,
If
it's a
anybody listening doesn't know what my IGN is, because I mean, we may have listeners that came in through completely different doors. It was a pretty robust community on the IGN subsite where it was like their attempt to kind of have like a Twitter/Facebook.
Yeah, and in its heydays, a lot of the IGN editors would actually, interact with the users on there, and occasionally feature blogs and different posts on the main site. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's funny you'd say that, because actually Audrey Drake, Audrey Drake was one of the main presenters on the Treehouse that we're going to be talking about any moment now. Everyone's dying to hear about it. She was one of those people that would go in the blogs. I literally in my recording room right here have a card she sent me one time after that Kid Icarus blog that I put up that was like one of the featured blogs or whatever. So they used to be really involved. It was cool. Like you had like kind of personal.
She sent me
wow.
I'll one up you. She
something.
sent me a game one time.
No way.
Is it because you won a contest?
Yes, she sent me Gabrielle's Ghostly Groove for the 3DS, a game which she herself and Rich George signed. So
nice.
You could always you could probably scrub out Rich's name if you needed to, right?
Oh, don't go there.
Just kidding. I like Rich. Okay.
Speaking of Rich George, I did notice one of the Metroid, press releases had his name at the bottom. So he's also moved on from IGN up into the Nintendo realm.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
That was a few years ago he moved into Golan, so he does. We get emails from him and stuff.
Oh, that's crazy. Small world,
cool.
Huh? Small world.
I won a contest once, but there was nothing at stake but bragging rights, so that was still cool.
Dude, Matt, what is up first? What's been happening this week besides Wii Music, dude?
All
Take us into
so
the news.
Just want to say thanks for coming on, Kylie. Big time cool guy, long time listener. So it's going to be a lot of fun, especially for E3 stuff.
Yeah, you bet. What an episode to be on, guys. This is great.
Yeah, definitely. So usually we start with what we've been playing, but because C3, we're going to skip all that. But I do quickly want to say, you're wrong, Flea. Plague Knight is better than Spectre Knight, period. So eat it.
Eat it, Flea. Come on the podcast and defend yourself.
Or don't. Let me just mock you. That's fine. I played it and beat it, and we were talking on Twitter, and I just wanted to poke fun at him. But so how I ordered this was, for the listeners so they know, is I wrote up a list of topics and sent it out to all the guests and got them to basically rank what they wanted to talk about and what they didn't want to talk about. And I reorganized it so the topics that people wanted to talk most about are at the top, and then goes all the way down to least. There's still interesting topics to talk about, but you want to get stuff what people want to talk about most, because that'll make for a more interesting podcast.
Too much news. There's just too much news. So we're not going to be covering Just Dance as much as we wanted to, right?
Exactly. We're going to have to leave that for the next podcast.
So in order to strategically play it next time, should I just leave all the games off my list that I want to talk about and just have Just Dance? That way we have to talk about it?
Just Dance, baby. Just Dance. I got to play Just Dance now that I'm making so much fun of it.
Yeah. But first, we'll start off with just quick overall impressions of what you thought of the Direct. I guess I'll go first just to warm up the thing. So I thought it was a pretty good Direct, great in some areas, pretty great all around. I would maybe not categorize, whatever. I would call it an even spread kind of podcast. So they had a bunch of stuff for this year, but they also had stuff for next year, and then they had stuff beyond that. So it's not just like one problem I've seen with Sony conferences is they'll announce a bunch of cool games, but they don't come out for like 3 years. And then like this year, it was just kind of reiterating some stuff we kind of already knew about, and I don't think it was as interesting. I also missed like half of it, so I had to watch some trailers to catch up, but things like that. So I think it was good that, they kept most of it to they had games for, all different time periods. So it shows it still has a future, but it's not like, oh, you have to wait until, a year or so down the line. We still have a bunch of stuff coming out this year. And recently, they didn't bother or they didn't waste time on showing Splatoon 2 again or anything like that, which is good. We know it's definitely going to get its own direct, so there's no point in bringing it here. The announcements were pretty brief. It's just like, here's a trailer, and let's go on to another trailer, versus some other directs. They might have shown a trailer and then might have had a developer talking and a couple of minutes of gameplay or something like that. I think it's really good that they have the Treehouse, because then they can say, here's what this game is. If you want to watch it, go check it out on the Treehouse. We're just going to keep going through all these announcements. And the 25-minute limit wasn't even that bad, to be quite honest, because they got rid of all of the extra stuff like the gameplay and talks for just other parts of E3. And they also cut out basically all of the 3DS, which is kind of what I figured, because directs are usually like 45 minutes. So I figured, okay, if the 3DS isn't going to be here, how much time are you going to lose? Because, of course, it would be shorter if you're getting rid of, another console. So I figured that would have been the case, and it was. My only other gripes overall were Fire Emblem Warriors comes out in a couple of months, but they didn't show gameplay, which is weird. And then Retro Studios. So they're not working on Metroid Prime 4. It's another team. It's still the Metroid producer or whatever. But it's been 3 years and we still don't know what the heck we're doing. So I don't know why that wasn't shown off. I'm guessing they'll probably have a direct later this year or something. I don't know. It's still really weird. But yeah, that's what I think overall of their presentation.
And that's the podcast.
Yeah.
No, good summary. Good summary. Eli, impression?
I actually wrote a blog on this. I was pretty happy with their presentation. I think I overrated it. Now that I think about it, I gave them like a score of a letter grade of an A. I think that might be a little bit overscored, maybe a B plus now that I think about it. But
is that because of my comment that you're saying that?
No, I'm saying it because now that I think about it, the only reason I rated it so highly was because all the other conferences weren't on high of a tier as they have in previous years. I mean, I really got to compliment Nintendo for its pacing. I think the announcements were good, but what really did it is the way that they distributed them and what they chose to show in the 25 minutes. Like, it felt like those 25 minutes flew by. It felt like it was going really quick. And they dispersed. I ranked it by tiers. I ranked the big announcements were the new games that they announced, and you had the games that they were following up on that we already knew about, like Xenoblade, that they kind of revealed a little bit more about. And then you had Tier 3 announcements, which I counted as Rocket League and DLC for Zelda, which is stuff that like isn't like a AAA game. And all three of those different types of announcements were spread out throughout the conference in pretty good proportion. As opposed to Sony, their conference was only an hour long, and the first half hour was literally VR games, DLC, and a remake. So you got bored pretty quick if you weren't a hardcore Sony fan already buying their games, because, there wasn't a lot there in terms of new announcements to keep you interested. Not to mention the fact that their whole back half was stuff you already knew about. So there were no new announcements there virtually. But with Nintendo, you had the big hitters, Metroid and Pokemon, which, even though they didn't show anything on, you didn't have to. Like, the names, the fact that they were dropped there were big enough and get people talking and excited. And then you had Kirby and Yoshi, which were still important games, and to reveal new games that are more farther along. And then just seeing Xenoblade again obviously tickles people's fancies. In a way, you also just had... an appeal to every type of gamer, where Rocket League was kind of to that mainstream esports watching gamer. Xenoblade was for the JRPG waifu fan. You've got Pokemon, obviously, for the Pokemon people, Metroid for the long-lost Nintendo fans and the hardcore base. So you had these announcements for everyone, but at no point did it feel like it was pandering to anyone. Like at Sony, where they went to VR mode, I couldn't give less shits, Whereas you look at the Nintendo conference, and I cared about everything, despite the fact certain announcements were obviously tailored more for certain people. So I just thought it was really well put together, well thought out, and well executed.
Well played.
Great.
I don't think you overrated. I think he's talking about his essay, his blog post on Nintendo Enthusiast .com. Eli, is it .com? Yeah, NintendoEnthusiast.com. Like I thought you gave it an A, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you should feel like you overrated it by that much. I mean,
No, I think it's like a B plus. I'm not going to say this was a historic conference. So
I mean, but you just, like you said, you overrated it, and then you talked for like 2 minutes straight about how many great things they did. So it's almost like I overrated it with an A, but it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I mean, I'll keep my comments short and sweet. I have a day job. We all got our different lives going on. I'm watching it while I'm working. 25 minutes works really well for me because I cannot watch a 2-hour presentation while I'm working and physically get work done. 25 minutes, I can like have it on and then like tune out when it's like Fire Emblem or whatever, a series I don't care about, you know, that I'm like, well, you know, I'm glad it's there or whatever, kind of watch it out of the corner of my eye, and then tune in for the big. It was very quick moving, so you kind of had to pay attention a lot, and I figured that out pretty quick. And for me, that's A, and all I have to say beyond that is when they dropped the Metroid 4 bomb, I was like, you know, I was like all those people in that video that was on the internet. I saw it on Nintendo Life, the reaction shot of everybody at Nintendo World in New York when they announced it. I was like that. I got the feels. I got up out of my chair. I don't even like Prime as much as I like original 2D Metroid in some ways, but the series is one of my top Nintendo series because of the atmosphere, and I just got up out of my chair and was like, thank you, it's finally the Metroid year, thank you, like finally, you know. And then the 1-2 punch that we're going to obviously talk about of the Metroid 1-2 punch was like me just like they just won right there. I was like, all right, this is one of the best E3s in a long time in certain ways, you know, in terms of just pure announcements, just because they did that. I mean, they built that up to fever pitch over 6, 7, 8 years. We didn't have a Metroid game on Wii U, and you know, so the hype was high, and so for me, it was, you know, I'll leave my comments there. Can, you know, say that I liked it a lot. I don't think it was like everything was meant for me, but I don't expect it to be. So I was psyched. So, nice. Kylie.
Yeah. So like what so much of how you kind of rate these conferences is based on your expectations. And I felt like Nintendo did a really good job of setting kind of the fan base's expectations beforehand by saying, you know, we're going to focus on Mario Odyssey and games that are coming this year and a taste of what's to come. And I think they really delivered on that. You know, they gave us a great trailer for Odyssey. I mean, that game is looking excellent. And just a little glimpse into the 2018 with Yoshi and Kirby, and then you know, here way down the line we're talking, you know, mainline Pokemon game on the Switch and you know, Prime 4. So you know, overall I wasn't, you know, overwhelmed by it. I wasn't underwhelmed. I think it kind of just hit it just right.
Yeah, nicely played. Yeah, the Pokemon. I mean, this is a quick question. I don't want to derail us because I know, Matt, you got a big agenda for us. Like when to me, I know how much I don't know Kylie's stance on Pokemon, but to Matt and Eli, like when I think of Pokemon, I'll probably always think of you guys for the rest of my life because I don't have friends that play Pokemon. I have like 4 or 5 really close friends that I play video games with around my geographic area.
It's maybe because you don't have friends like 20 years younger than you.
Well, I have some friends that are more in your age group. A couple of my gamer friends, they're just not.
Oh, they're just not. Well, I guess like IGN friends would make sense.
No. In real life, like, but like, because there's a couple guys in my neighborhood that I've made friends with over the years that are into Nintendo and stuff like that. A couple of them play Pokemon, but they're not as voracious as you guys. Like, you guys are like completing the Pokédex, like knowing everything about every evolution, whatever, all the stuff I don't even understand. Like, so. Was this tectonic to you guys? I mean, is that the biggest thing in the conference that they said they're bringing Pokemon to Switch, or is it something else? Am I misreading it? Like, because to me, I was like, oh my God, like that's kind of the biggest news here, like in a way.
It's a big deal, but in a way that it isn't a big deal. Like,
yeah, like expected kind of thing.
Yeah, we already knew. It was nice to get confirmation, but we already knew. So, like...
It was an inevitability, you know, basically.
It was a big deal in the way that Pokemon's a big deal and it'll sell 20 million units. But, you know...
This is like when Mike said that it's a great game, but not a good game.
Yeah,
Referring to Zelda.
exactly.
Okay, I was just curious because like I thought of you guys right away. I thought of the whole universe of Pokemon fans I don't really interact with. Yeah, that's I was happy for that announcement, even though it was like literally just a guy at a desk saying Pokemon exists and it's going to come to Switch or whatever. So. But that's cool.
Nice.
I think what's kind of exciting about it is just knowing the potential of what it could be. We won't know what they have in store, until we get to hear more. Probably a year from now would be the next chance, would be my guess. But it's just the potential of the full HD console, home console, and meeting the handheld console at the same time, and a Pokemon game being there. That's what's exciting, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we'll move on to some games now. So Super Mario Odyssey, I think, is obviously the first one we have to start off with. This thing was insane. So for me, with the conference, I knew they were going to show a bunch of Switch stuff. I figured it was mostly going to be stuff we knew about and just more details. As far as I was concerned, Mario was going to show up there, and the first trailer looked awesome. So, hey, the conference is already great to me in my book, because that's all I care about. Anything else is just bonus. And this trailer I thought was amazing in the most insane way impossible. I never could have predicted that you can possess a giant freaking T-Rex of all things, a realistic looking T-Rex. It was insane just how crazy it was. But I think I've talked enough at the beginning. Kylie, why don't you give us your impression on Super Mario Odyssey?
Oh man, where to begin? Yeah. It's the kind of the way Breath of the Wild changed Zelda. I feel like maybe Mario, maybe not to the extent that Breath of the Wild did, but this one is, they're changing a lot of the conventions of the game the way it has been the last couple years. The free roaming, the open world side of things, the fact that there's no power up. Like, will there even be a Mega Mushroom in this game, or is Mario's hat just gonna handle all the power-up situations? Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah, it seems like rather than a new power-up, they're like, everything is a power-up.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's insane.
Kylie gave me the chills when he compared it to the way Zelda changed everything for Zelda, because I'm just that idea alone that Mario could take such a big shift is the main thing. I got really excited from the first trailer when they showed him in a city in a real world. I completely was like, I never thought that would ever happen. You know what I mean? What is this? In a real world type city. So thanks for that, man.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm kind of seeing from some of the gameplay, it's Mario games in the past is kind of you get a power up and then you have a few, a world to explore, kind of more contained. This one, it was more like you have these options and you're kind of figuring out the way to solve the puzzles and get from point A to point B kind of in different creative ways. And I think that's gonna be a really strong part of the gameplay of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely looks like they're changing a whole lot with it. I'm just rewatching the trailer and Mario possesses a freaking taxi, for crying out loud. It's just so weird.
It's funny you guys are describing it, and it's funny because I watched it live and then put it out of my mind because I'm so anti getting too exposed to a game that I went for the whole year without seeing anything about Breath of the Wild other than the very first trailer. And so it's funny, I'm going to be in that position, I'm realizing with Odyssey.
Oh gosh.
Because I tried to forget it kind of right away. I was
we're going to have another 3 months of dancing around spoilers.
No. I mean, trailers are trailers, you know what I mean? It's more for me, I just didn't watch it. I mean, Zelda was different because they had that direct where they showed all the special powers apparently and stuff. I've never even seen it yet. And but I remember hearing whispers of the time stopping mechanic and stuff like that, and I was like, don't hear it, fingers in the ears. I don't want to know.
I always feel that way too. I'm like, I don't want to know anymore. And then as soon as I see a video link or something, I'm always watching it in 1 second.
Eli, you didn't say anything about Odyssey. Obviously you thought it was horrible and it sucks. Oh wait, that's Mike. He's not here.
Yeah, I don't know why they're even putting the game out. No, but it looked impressive. I didn't look at a lot of the in-depth footage, just the trailer. And I mean, it looks impressive. I'm not trying to see too much of it because I'm hoping to keep it fresh, like as you talked about.
Yeah.
And so it just looks like a lot of really interesting conventions. I'm interested to see how the hat mechanic plays out with taking over different things. Like when you go and take over a T-Rex, at what point is that game no longer a platformer? You know?
Oh man, that's like what do you make this into a game philosophy question type of podcast?
I mean, but it's true. Like Mario is a platformer, and if I'm playing a game that doesn't require position or platforming, then why am I playing Mario?
Oh, man.
Mario's not an adventure game. It's not like
blog post. I sent a blog post coming up. Man,
I mean, I honestly, it's not that I have anything opposed to it. I just hope it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it looks like, from what I've seen from some footage of people playing, it's also kind of like a puzzle mechanic, like a bullet bill, for example. Like, oh, this desert part is too long. Let me, possess this bullet bill, and then I can fly over there and get to that. So it kind of has that, like Kylie was saying, Zelda Breath of the Wild thing, where it's like there's all these different tools at your disposal, and part of the fun is figuring out how to solve these puzzles.
Plus, everything gets a mustache and a hat.
Yeah, and blue eyes. I really like that part too.
I can't wait. I mean, I think if you cold asked me to decide my favorite Marios of all time, and then you wanted me to divide it the same way you have to do with Zelda or Metroid or any Nintendo franchise, practically 2D versus 3D, if you just kept me to 3D, I might put Sunshine in my heart. Like, I like it better than like Galaxy. And I know that's like heresy. Like, I haven't replayed it, so maybe it's like nostalgia, but I freaking loved Sunshine. To me, it was like, N64 Mario, which is a masterpiece in this, like, I know Flood wasn't like everybody's favorite thing, but I just loved that game on every level. I loved its atmosphere and the way it looked, and its kind of free roaming, sandboxy, whatever you want to call it, nature. So for me, this is just like, this is it. Like, I'm like, let's get back to the good stuff. If it wasn't going to be Galaxy 3, this is the best answer, to what to do with Mario, because the 2D new Mario series is like not really where my heart's at. And so, I mean, it was fine, but this looks freaking awesome. I don't even think there's like anything negative to say about it, is there? I mean, can we say something negative about Mario Odyssey?
They stole the possessing a T-Rex thing from Banjo-Tooie. That's about it. I was gonna make a joke like Rare says, "Oh man, we have a washing machine transformation. We're neat or interesting," and then it's like Mario and it's like, "I possess a T-Rex" or something. And then I realized right before I was gonna send that tweet, I'm like, "Wait a second, they did that in the second game. Delete."
It's funny. Yeah, I mean, if that's the worst thing we can do, that it is borrowing incidentally a mechanic from a game that was extremely popular and beloved, like that's like the worst thing we can say about it. Yeah. Wow.
I'll wrap up my thoughts quickly with the one thing I really love about this game is basically everything is new. The problem I've had with some other Mario games is they do repeat the grass world, water world, fire, ice, blah, blah, blah sort of thing. But this, you see like this Jurassic Park kind of world. You have New York City for some reason, and in some interview they said they'd put real people because they felt like it, not any other reason. They have like this weird black and white world. I don't know what that's all about. It's really cool, like a Mexico City sort of thing with ice in it. It's just, all of it feels so new and fresh that it stands out from any other Mario game, and I have no idea how they're going to top this in the future, because it was hard to think, oh, what are you going to do after space? And then it's like, oh, well, geez, they just wipe the floor with this. And then it's like, how do you go from this?
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably the least of their worries. You know what I mean? That's a great problem to have, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like,
you're too good. You gotta pull it back a bit.
Yeah. I mean, like, the textures look stupid good, and I'm not even someone who worries about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I just was like texting my friends that live nearby me here. Like, I was like, are you watching this? Like, is it just my monitor, or does this look insane? Like it looks so good. Like, just the way saying Breath of the Wild, like, shows art direction can be everything, even on a system that isn't like parallel in power to like modern consoles. It's just classic Nintendo. Art direction is everything. you can do a lot with a little if you have like a good design and you're not worried about making it look like real life creepy facial expressions on every character. You're like, no, we go for cartoony, arty look, and and now we're starting to master this HD thing, and boy, are they starting to master it. Is what I saw in this trailer. So, yeah, obviously, like we're all giving it like thumbs up, except for thieving from Banjo Kazooie Tooie.
Yeah. So we'll move on.
And we've got a new theme song that theme music with lyrics.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was great. It's like Vegas style theme song. Like it was actually made for this game because I wasn't even sure when I listened to it. Like, did they just pay a license or something? But no, it's definitely like they made it for this game. That was awesome.
I'm assuming that is Mayor Pauline singing the lyrics of the song, but I'm not really sure.
Let me ask you guys something. Like, I'm not sure what theme song you're talking about. Was it the same theme song that was playing incessantly during the treehouse, like in the background?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, it was cool. It reminds me of the style of the Mario Kart music, or was it like the jazzy type song you're talking about? Saxophones and stuff. Yeah, I was reminded of the Mario Kart. Like, I know. I forget which podcast always jokes and calls it like I think it's Laser Time. They jokingly call it like the SNL like theme song, because SNL used to have a theme, like the kind of theme music was always with like a lot of saxophones and horns and stuff in it or whatever. And when you can't unhear it once you hear it from Mario Kart anyway. But yeah, it sounds really corny and kind of funny. I liked it.
Nice. So move on to the next game, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This was leaked like January ago, so basically everyone's gotten kind of used to the idea, which I'm not sure if that's good or bad enough, or good or bad, because if it was a surprise announcement, maybe it would have cheesed some people off, but maybe because it was leaked, people have gotten used to it and won't go rabid against it. But yeah, they showed they showed off the game, and apparently it plays like XCOM, like Lower K Dale or whatever said it was. Grant Kirkhope is doing the soundtrack, which is really interesting and weird. I'm not sure why they got him for this game. It has 4 worlds in it. Apparently been in the works for 3 years. It's compatible with Amiibo and has Ubisoft is making a couple of figures on their website. Kind of a bit pricey. They don't act as Amiibo, but they still look kind of cool. But what did you guys think of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle?
Eli's been quiet. Eli, what did you think, man?
It looks pretty interesting. I'm excited. I'll buy it. It doesn't look like it's too childish, The animation is goofy, and it's not like too cheesy, And gameplay looks. Now I haven't seen the in-depth gameplay videos. I just watched the trailers and stuff, so I don't know. Maybe it is super easy or whatever. But it looks like, a creative, more colorful type of XCOM, for example. And I'd totally be down for that type of strategy game. So we'll see. But from what I saw, I'm definitely down to play it.
Nice. Kylie, are you really interested in this? Have you played XCOM before?
No, I did never play XCOM. And honestly, like, a lot of turn-based combat games aren't really up my alley, but I'm always willing to give them a shot, And this looks like one, I did watch today there in the treehouse, they had like a boss battle, and I don't know, it just looked really fun. I think the overworld side of it, the exploration looks pretty bare bones, not a lot going on there, but like it's all about the battling, and what I saw, it looked like I'd have a good time with it, so I'd probably give it a shot.
Yeah. Uno?
I'm going to wait to hear what my favorite podcast, Just Another Castle, says about it before I commit, because I'm not shelling out money for anything that's all slow and thinky and moving my like markers around a map. Because I always just feel like when I play a game like that, I'm like, this is like a board game. Why am I playing it on my TV? I hate to be a hater, but like that's how I do feel with a lot of strategy games. Like, I don't know. I've said it 100 times on here. But if you're one new listener for this week or something, like I'm not that into like slower paced games. I like twitchy arcade stuff is my favorite, like kind of high action, keeps me really interested. I don't sit down to play games to hear it talk to me or tell me a narrative. I would read a book if I wanted a story, and I don't sit down to play like Settlers of Catan or something when I'm gonna play a video game. Like I'm like, no, I want to shoot stuff. I want to blow stuff up. Where's my X? Oh no, that I'm playing Nintendo. Okay, so there's not all that blowing up stuff. But
Clay's your stereotypical 1990s teenager.
Yeah, I am. Living the dream, baby. Haven't aged one bit. But
to be clearly distinguished from a late 2000s age teenager.
Yeah, true that. But no, I don't know. I have to be honest. Like, I didn't watch it a ton. I watched the Treehouse a little bit. I still kind of don't get it. I never played XCOM, since that seems to be the frame you're using. I've heard of it. I kind of got that it was strategy, like with the moving the squares and the map and stuff like that, but I didn't get it really. Like I was like, what is it? And then I was like, that's a bad sign for me whenever I don't intuitively like understand what a video game is, because it usually means it's like tower defense or like strategy or something like that, you know? So I'm going to wait to hear what you guys say on that game, most likely, unless there's some kind of direct or something before it launches. I don't
know, Clay. You just sound like a casual. Can't even play Rabbids.
I don't have a lot of relationship to the Rabbids either. I've played a couple of their mini game collections at friends' houses, and I'm always like, yeah, it's okay. So it's not like this deep, like, yay, they're together again or together finally type of thing for me either. It's just like, you know, like I like Ubisoft games in general, the ones I've played. So it's nothing against them, you know. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
you
know, it sounds like no one really hates the idea of Rabbids being in this. Has everyone just gotten used to the fact when like it was leaked, or did you never really care?
I thought that my kids might like it, but I showed them the trailer, and they were just kind of confused. Like, why are those Rabbid things in this Mario game? Like they didn't really care for it too much.
Dude, can you imagine if this stuff didn't leak? This would have been the surprise of E3. Like, what the hell?
I feel bad for them.
I sometimes think those kind of leaks are planned when it's that leaky. Like, this was like leaks all the time about it. Like, I sometimes think, I mean, I think we're all pretty intelligent people here. I know Eli's even studying political science. I don't know how much you get into leaks. They're in the news these days, if you haven't heard. But like, I think in a case like that, it's like maybe this is just speculation, obviously, but it was so leaky. Maybe that they're doing that. They were doing that on purpose to get us used to the idea, because otherwise it could be this like, derailment of the press conference of like what the F is this? And then they like nobody's used to the idea. I don't know. Just speculating.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm gonna say no simply because the people who leaked it are like well known for leaking things and like finding details of stuff, like finding one of them Liam Robertson already announced 2 years ago that Nintendo was working with Mercury Steam to make a Metroid game, and that was announced like yesterday. So like these are some people who really like do their research and get this kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say like
I'm suggesting the leak from Ubisoft to people like that, like was intentional.
I don't necessarily. So Clay, you're right. There definitely are intentional leaks. But usually they come directly, you know, they're framed in a certain way. They come directly from the source to, you know, a reputable place. You know, it'd be one of those things where IGN or Eurogamer would have gotten, like, maybe with the Switch stuff, got a reputable leak, and they would have published it. These back alley leaks and stuff, I'm not so sure, especially from a company like Ubisoft. It's not a thing where just a few people knew about it. You know, this is a large development team. Hundreds of people knew about this game. And literally, if any single one person broke the chain and told someone, it could have broken down. You know, it could have gotten out. So when you got so many moving parts in a development of a big AAA game like that, it's very likely that the seal could break and word could get out.
Sure.
I think anyway.
Two things as well. One, this is Ubisoft where everything they do leaks. So it's kind of like not a surprise that someone gave someone else information that they weren't supposed to, sort of thing. And also this thing launches in August. So I think it was supposed to be like a very surprise announcement, like, hey, this thing exists and it comes out in 2 months, because that's also like Nintendo's shtick of revealing things like right before they launch. So yeah, I think it was just someone didn't keep their mouth closed when they were supposed to, and just gave someone the wrong, or gave the wrong person the right information.
Ubisoft is basically the United States government of video game development company. The ESIV around these days. So, yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice. So we're basically on Rabbids. It's like the three of you are tentative. It sounds like tentatively interested, or even maybe a little positive. And I'm sitting back waiting to hear back from you guys. Basically, is that it?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I haven't actually played a game like this, and I'm not sure if I will like it or not, but I really like the personality from the trailers, and I kind of want to see like what they do with these characters mixing together, because I think it's a really funny combination. So it's got me there. I kind of hope I don't think they'll drop a demo because it launches so soon, but I would like to see something else of it. I have to watch the gameplay as well.
They've been really good with demos though lately, and for a game that's this niche, I could see them doing a demo for this. Like, I mean, they're doing demos for anything basically now for their big AAA stuff, and I'm going to say this is getting close to that level. So especially just that this game might not sell right out the gate. You know, it's going to be a little bit confusing to people. I can see us getting a demo of it. And that, when I think about it, I'm like, well, then I will download the demo and try it, because the rabbits are comical and they're funny, you know, and maybe this will work. You know, maybe I'll like the strategy aspect of it or something. It's interesting.
Yeah, I hope there is a demo. I'd totally be down to try it before buying it. Did you guys see when they announced it at the Ubi's conference, the creative director getting called out by Miyamoto and what's his name, Eves?
Oh yeah, Eves.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. It was kind of emotional. He got kind of like teary eyed. I can't imagine, you know, your pet project with, you know, Nintendo and Miyamoto being on stage and calling you out and thanking your work. I mean, that's a pretty cool moment.
Oh, I didn't see it. That's really neat. So Miyamoto like personally thanked him from stage. Huh. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that would be like the moment of your life. You're like, I'm a game developer and the world's greatest game developer just said my name on stage.
Well, he like praised his game too, so that's gotta be surreal.
That's like it. If you're a game developer, what would be better than that happening? I can't think of it. Like, it would be like, I don't know, like winning some game conference wouldn't even be the same. Like, you know, you'd be like, yeah, well, Miyamoto said my name once. So
he's achieved his life goal and he still has 60 years left to live.
That's pretty cool.
So he got a good head start. So we'll move along. There was a lot of Amiibo announced, and I was kind of surprised that basically everyone wanted to talk about Amiibo. So I'll just list what the Amiibo were. The Amiibo that were announced, and we'll go from there. So the Zelda champions are Amiibo Mifa, Urbosa, Revali, and Daruk. This is kind of weird because well, I think it's weird for a different reason, because the second pack of the DLC is going to be focused around them, and that's fine. And I kind of understand why they're doing the DLC Amiibo about them, because get to know these characters more, and you might be attached to them and might want to buy this figure, but they also have content for this second pack. So now you're buying DLC, and then you have to pay to unlock the DLC, and then you got to pay to unlock the specific content on the Amiibo. It's like, that's kind of, dirty.
You're saying you buy the Amiibo is what you're saying to get that content.
But it's also behind paid content. So it's like you got to pay content and then pay other content to access it. That's kind of dirty. But anyway, moving on. So there's two Metroid Amiibos. There's a Samus one that's in the pose of Metroid 2 pose or whatever. And also a Metroid, which is really cool. It's attached to like a broken capsule or glass capsule or whatever, and the Metroid part of it's squishy, which is kind of neat. It comes in a 2-pack. I don't think you can buy them separately, not from what I've seen at least. There's some Fire Emblem ones, Chrom and Tiki. They work with Fire Emblem Warriors, who cares? And Mario Odyssey is getting 5 Amiibo, so there's a Goomba, a Koopa Troopa, and then 3 based on Mario, Peach, and Bowser, all in like wedding attire. It's kind of cute. And as soon as these things are going to be released, it's going to be like a month or two before someone uses them at their wedding. I'm like, these are definitely going to be cake toppers at some point. It's just inevitable. But so I guess, what do you guys think of the Amiibo? Are you like them, or what's the deal? Why
Eli's good first, because Eli probably has the most Amiibos of any of us, unless Kylie's like a secret like hoarder or something like that. Because Eli, you have like 2 of most of them, right?
No, I have one of all of them up until the Kirby set, at which point I disown them. So I'm not a good judge of this because, actually, I did end up buying the Kirby set, but
Wow.
but it was at half price. Okay.
Oh,
So-
okay, sure. You know, that beer was half off, so it's not really part of my addiction. It's just, just taking advantage of the deal, right?
Exactly. If I spend half price, then it's like I drink half as much, which means
So you
that
can buy
I'm
double.
not actually an alcoholic, is I believe how it goes. Because if more than a certain percentage of my income goes towards amiibo or liquor, then I am an addict. And as long as I keep it under,
So you're saying is as long as you
I'm-
make more money, you can drink more and buy more amiibo.
Oh man, I'm loving this addiction talk right here. This is
But-
the most addict talk I've ever heard.
I got them for $5 a piece, actually, the Kirby ones. So I'm not going to buy these at launch. I'm kind of annoyed at giving Nintendo money for bullshit amiibo that don't do anything.
Even though all the time.
What?
Even though you do it all the time. No, I'm just
Yeah,
busting.
no, like I wish I realized that before giving them $1,000 for plastic toys.
Jeez.
But
Oh my
I guess you live and you learn.
Or you don't.
So I'll probably end up buying them once again. If they get to like $5 a piece, I'll probably end up picking them up, and I totally see that happening. I mean, the Mario 2 set, pretty much everything except the Smash Brothers set fell in value pretty quick. Right now, Best Buy was doing buy 1 get 2 free on the Animal Crossing figurines. I bought those at full price when they launched. So
I got back there a little bit. That's not entirely true. The Breath of the Wild amiibo, especially the Guardian, is if I'm not mistaken, more valuable than it was when it was sold in stores. Like, and you can't get it. Like,
Yeah,
You're right.
too.
You're right. I did hear that, but other than those 2 exceptions, virtually every other amiibo is pretty easy to find. And actually, some of the older ones are starting to get harder to find too, which is interesting. Like some of the really common Smash Bros. Characters at the beginning, where they were literally everywhere, buckets and buckets of them. They are now like going up in price, $30-$40 on eBay, which is kind of interesting. Regardless, most of the amiibo drop in price, and I'll probably end up getting them then. I'm done with spending that insane amount of money, and I don't have anywhere to put them. That's the other thing. Like all my amiibo are back in Colorado. I go to school in Michigan. So what I do is, if I do buy an amiibo, which is getting rarer and rarer now, I do take it home over the holidays to store back home. But I just don't have the space here, and I don't have the space to buy another 30 amiibo. And the other thing is, when I ship amiibo, because I've done that too, back to Colorado, the packages get wrecked, then I have to send my brother out to return them for me. Like, it's a complete pain in the ass.
Sound like a king. It's hard on me to send my slave to go do my dirty work. I just can't stand telling him that. At least you're spending $1,000 on amiibo than $1,000, or I Justine spelling $1,000 on like that mobile game or whatever it was. Okay, there's some joke in some conference where someone said like they spent $1,000 like on a mobile game or on marketing for one or something, and everyone in the chat was just like, "Why did you tell us that? We shouldn't have told us that."
That's a fail. I mean, like I personally, I was talking to another old my IGNer today, Clinta, who he and I have like kind of went through the whole amiibo trading and collecting thing. He was personally responsible for me getting a Wario, and Wario is impossible to find. I have no idea if he's valuable anymore or not, or tough, but I love him. I love my little Wario amiibo, but still in the box. And but I think the Metroid busting out of the case is going to be one of the ones that's valuable. Like I'm calling it here now. Like that one's going to sell out, and then you're not going to be able to get it. Just like the Guardian, which I'm kicking myself because the Guardian one is kick ass. I am not paying for an amiibo that on the secondary market. I'm never doing that again. I say it now. I say it now in the public on the podcast, so I don't do it. Telling myself, but like I really wish I had the Guardian one because it looks so cool. And that Metroid one, it's like I looked it up today. The pre-orders are open. It's $30, and like Matt said, Eli or Matt said, you got to buy them both together. And it's 30. I was like, I held back. I didn't press buy. I didn't press pre-order today on it, but it's burning me up kind of. I'm like $30 for 2 more plastic figurines when I got like 15 of them still in the box that I haven't opened yet. Like, really? But that Metroid one, I have a feeling, is going to sell out and be gone, and you're going to wish you had it, you know?
Definitely.
You know, that's the one for me. I don't give a flying crap about any of the other ones, any of those Marios and wedding outfits, whatever. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, you got to be kidding me. I would buy that. But like, yeah, the Metroid is badass. I didn't even know it was squishy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just nuts. Like, that just makes it all the more awesome.
So I'm gonna make all of you hate me. I kind of want one of those Rabbids figures. I don't care about these amiibo. What?
What do you mean the Rabbids figures? I don't think I know
So
what you mean.
the Mario and Rabbids game, you know how the Rabbids are dressed up as different Mario characters?
Yeah.
The Ubisoft is making figures of those, and I kind of want the Yoshi Rabbid. Just looks so crazy. It's got like a Gatling gun.
$20, dude.
I know,
And
it's and then with
if you
shipping,
want a 6-inch one.
Yeah, and then there's shipping and then taxes. They don't. So Ubisoft's website is weird. They're like, yeah, we'll give you free shipping if you spend $99. I'm like, that's stupid. So yeah, I don't know if I'll buy it, but at the same time, I'd like it. So anyway, Kylie, are you interested in any of these amiibo specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I have quite a few amiibo. I mean, I don't know how many I have, but I would buy probably all of them, save for the Fire Emblem ones. I'm not into those if I could find them on store shelves. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with amiibo lately is you can't find the ones you want. You can find Mario and a bunch of Animal Crossing Tom Nooks or something, but beyond that, you're kind of out of luck.
These look cool. I'm looking at the Rabbids ones. I wouldn't buy them because I don't have enough interest, but they're cute without being insulting. They're like cool looking. They're neat.
Isn't that bizarre that they made those and they aren't amiibo? Don't you feel like they probably were originally planning on releasing them as amiibo and something fell through, maybe on the development side or just being able to roll them out or something?
So they don't do anything? Is that what I'm reading here?
Yeah, because they're from
They're just
Ubisoft. The game has amiibo support, so you can use other amiibo, but these figures specifically aren't amiibo. They're made by Ubisoft. So maybe it's not like Nintendo would have said, oh, well, we're embarrassing. We don't want to make amiibo with you because it would lower our brand or whatever, because they're obviously partnering with this game. And they also made a Shovel Knight amiibo, which is, not to be rude, but technically really a no-name company as far as like the grand scheme of things is concerned. But yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. I'm guessing Ubisoft just wanted like a piece of their own pie. Like, well, there's kind of our characters. I guess we kind of want money for these. I don't know. I'm guessing it's just that kind of deal.
I want to clarify something. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the cost, and Eli, you specialize in knowing this stuff. Matt, and Kylie, you might as well be familiar with this. Like, I believe when any outside third party wants to make an amiibo, there's a significant cost to them to do it, and that may be part of it. Maybe.
I actually don't. Usually, yes. I don't think that's the case with amiibo. I don't think they have to spend a lot more. From what the Shovel Knight guys were saying, they were saying that it was really easy to get an amiibo approved, and I don't think they had to. I think they just had to pay what it cost to make them. I don't think that they had to pay extra.
Okay. I didn't know if there was like a license. I remember reading that too. That's exactly what I was thinking of. There's the Shovel Knight guys talking about their experience. I thought there might have been like licensing elements to it, but I just don't recall. So that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder why they would do this. I mean, like, maybe it's just a shortcut. And I mean, it does seem bizarre. Like, actually, now that you pointed out, it's like they're not amiibo. And I would have thought they were if I saw a picture of these. I would have been like, oh, look, they're Rabbids amiibos. Okay. And I was just like glancing at an article here quickly to get familiar with it. And I don't know, like, what?
I think Ubisoft just wants their own money because they also announced another Toys to Life game with a spaceship and whatnot that we might get to if we have time later in the podcast. But I'm guessing it was just like they wanted the money sort of thing because they're also doing that kind of thing. So it kind of makes sense.
They're like, we want all the money from this. That's probably the simplest explanation. Like, for real. Like, it's like we don't want to partner. we don't want to get into the licensing and like the chips and all that stuff. We just want to make figurines done, see how it goes.
Yeah.
Huh.
So moving along, I didn't actually expect you guys to be interested in this, but Rocket League was announced for the Switch.
Dude,
It's coming this holiday. It's gonna have some Nintendo items, and it's also interestingly gonna have cross-platform play, so you can play on other consoles. I don't know about Sony. They don't seem to be interested in playing with other consoles apparently, but with at least with Xbox and I think PC and whatever. But Kylie, why don't you start off with telling us how you feel about Rocket League?
Sure. Yeah. So I am basically a Nintendo console only guy. I don't have the time to invest in, any games that I don't want to play. So I stick with the guys that I like the best. Nothing against, the other parties out there, but so I have never had a chance to really play Rocket League other than just, short burst on a friend's console here and there. Mm-hmm. And I'm all about the Switch version coming. I'll definitely be a day one purchaser on that.
Awesome. I'll be playing you on day one, Kylie. I can't even wait. This is going to be awesome. How about it, man?
Yeah, that game's so fun. Like even just the simplicity of it, the concept. It's soccer with cars. It's great.
Yeah. I don't have to say much more than what he just said. I am exactly the same. Time, life, Nintendo guy, like the other consoles. Wish I had like 3 lives to live so I could play all these other video games that are out there, but Nintendo's the best for me and my tastes. And like the Rocket League is so Nintendo-ish. And one of my best friends that I play games is really into Steam gaming, is always trying to convert me over to the master race of PC gaming and stuff. And I'm just like, no, it's cool. I like playing at your house. It's fun. But Rocket League was one he pushed on me really hard because he could tell it had like a little bit of a Nintendo type appeal in some kind of hard to define way. It's partly because he and I used to obsessively play Mario Strikers together, and I think he was like seeing a similarity that's somewhat legitimate, like of the type of gameplay it is, and I really liked it. It's tough to get good at it when you just play it at someone else's house because the physics are really kooky and stuff. But I've been saying for a while on this podcast, I think Nintendo's best strategy is to be AAA, publish their own games as the big flagship, and then get as many top shelf indie games or partner with Steam client type companies, anybody that can come over. And this is like one of the big hits. Sure, it's a big hit from like a year ago, whatever. I don't care. I'm still going to buy it day one. I cannot wait to play it and play with you guys, in fact. So yeah.
Cool. Eli, I know you, I watched your video on Nintendo's conference, and I know you have a bit to say on Rocket League, so why don't you go off on that?
Well, I think it's a big game in the way to where it's really nice to see something mainstream come to the Switch. It's kind of old, which sucks, but the thing is that Rocket League is still huge. Millions of people play it every day. Its numbers are still growing. It's still supported. There's still DLC for it that's free. And I think there's 30 million different people that have played it. And they have, I think, 3 to 5 million users a day. So I think it's the fact that it opens up an avenue for people to purchase it and have an excuse for purchasing the Switch if their friends already own Rocket League on a different platform, which is solid. But, it's still a little bit too little too late in my opinion, but it's definitely, I think, a good move on Nintendo's part to secure a big behemoth of a game like that, because it is big in the mainstream, it's big in esports, it's big in gaming popular culture.
Yeah, and it still could easily get a decent amount of sales, because as we saw with Minecraft on Wii U, apparently it was on number 1 for Japan's eShop download list for a little while. So
I was just going to make
could have legs. Interesting.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought of Minecraft when he was talking. I was like, a little too late, and then it explodes. Like, even though it's just such a popular game, I thought of that comparison right away. So, I think right now, like, the Minecraft on Wii U on Switch is selling like gangbusters, is what I've heard. Like, so it's like, and that game is like freaking, how many years old is Minecraft now? So I don't know, man. I'm super pumped. It was one of my highlights of the conference, in fact, because I was like, I just want to see more stuff like this. I want my Nintendo. and I want the top tier indie stuff. Like, and that's all I care about. That's all I have time for. So give me that, you know?
I think they did a good job of keeping it under wraps too, because I know like on Twitter, I'm not sure the developer's name, but I know people are kind of hounding them like, why isn't Rocket League on Switch? You know, and they stuck to their guns. So I mean, I was legitimately surprised too whenever they showed it during the conference.
Funny story, I actually emailed the developer, maybe a year ago, asking about this. And he sent me a reply back, and he's like, it's not currently planned, but we're always looking at other platforms, winky face or something like that.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. Sneaky devil.
That's gotta hurt as a developer. Like, everyone's yelling at you for not giving them something, and they're like, we want to tell you, yes it is, please, don't yell at us. We're doing what you want. Which is a perfect segue into Metroid. So, both 2 Metroid games were announced. One was off stream. We'll just kind of bundle them together, I guess. So, during the press conference, they showed off, well, not really showed off, but they announced Metroid Prime 4 is in the works. It's made by a new team, like I said before, not Retro Studios, but it is from the Metroid Prime producer. And I was saying with other leakers, like Liam Robertson was talking about this exact kind of thing like some time ago. Which is interesting, but it's also interesting because during the Treehouse stream, they also shot off Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of Metroid 2, and it kind of puts into perspective why they canceled the shut down the fan remake, because they actually were doing something on their own. It wasn't just we want to shut it down because we have the right to, sort of thing.
I think the fan remake came out, right? I mean, it's available, right? I think it was finished.
Yeah.
And then they down, so I never played it, and I guess now I'm not going to have to.
I guess I don't remember this. This was another remake of the Game Boy Metroid 2?
Yeah, it was called I think the short form was another Metroid remake 2, or there's some weird,
I don't remember what it was called. It was just it was
another Metroid 2 remake. That's what
it was like. It was just recent too, Kylie. It was like within the last year, and it looked really cool. And I think it got out and people played it and liked it. And I mean, for people who aren't familiar with Metroid 2, it is by far the worst Metroid. Say what you want about Other M, a game I actually think is pretty okay, but like, it is Metroid 2 is like, it's a Game Boy game. It's in monochrome, and you get lost. That's its biggest problem. You just can't find your way anywhere because there's no map. And it's like, imagine if you played Metroid on NES. Only it's on a tiny screen in monochrome, and it's way constricted because it's such a tiny screen you can't even see vertically very far, and you just get down into the catacombs and you're just lost, and you're just like, I was having fun, and now I'm not, because I don't know where I am at all. Like, I don't know where to go. There's no like map or indicator like, oh, go north, or oh, go down, or anything like that. You're just like wandering around, and so it's it's the one that needs remake the most.
I remember playing it as a kid. I don't know. I put countless hours into that game on the Game Boy, trying to, hold your Game Boy just right to get the light so you can actually see what you're doing. And that was the big problem with that game. I remember even as a kid being like, where am I? How do I find my way around this world? It was, the lack of a map was just horrible. I actually, during the Treehouse, whenever they were announcing that game and talked about how it was a remake, I went down and grabbed my old Game Boy and popped it in just to kind of refresh my memory, and it was just about like I remembered it. Not that great of a game.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I like the one, like I said at the lead up of this. To me, this will forever be the year of Metroid to me, and I think they intended it that way. Like, well, no, there's like, I don't know what Nintendo intended. I know that supposedly in Japan, Metroid isn't nearly as important as it is to Americans. That's hearsay to me, but I mean, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe they don't think of Metroid in the same level of importance, but like the way they dropped Prime 4 was unmistakably like intended to be what it was. Like, this is like the way that the shadow came in, and like you weren't sure for sure. And every time they've done any kind of like mysterious reveal for the last 5 years, a lot of us have like completely been sitting there being like, is it Metroid Prime? Is it Metroid? Every single time. And then you're always disappointed. And this one, it was like kaboom, we're just literally showing you a number. We're literally just showing you a number, like and saying the game is being made, and then to have the sneak attack of like Samus, the remake of Metroid 2 is like, I mean, I'm a little concerned. I played the Castlevania remake, reboot, whatever it is that company made. The same company is making Metroid 2 remake. That Castlevania game was okay. It visually looked cool. It wasn't a very good Castlevania game. It was kind of boring, frankly. It was just kind of like not, I don't know. It just was missing some charm that it needed. It wasn't a very good game. I finished it, but that's because it was kind of easy. So I'm a little worried about that, but hopefully Nintendo won't let that happen to Metroid, that they'll like, it looked cool. Like I can say that on the stream when they showed it, it looked cool.
I think it'll be fine because it's a remake, so all the groundwork is there already. They're just adding like cutscenes, and you basically like make 3D models instead of pixel art. So I think it'll be in fine hands. What I think is funny is that they definitely were forced to announce Metroid Prime 4 because people have been aching for Metroid for the longest time, and after Federation Force, where the YouTube dislike button was used very liberally, if they only showed off this Metroid 2 remake for the 3DS of all things, people would have gone like crazy and like, where's Metroid Prime 4? What are you doing this? So they're like, fine, you know what? To shut all of you up, we're doing both of them. Here you go. Don't bug us anymore.
That's a good point. That's a great point. Like, if they would have only shown two, that would have been like the hate story. It would have been like, why can't they make a new Metroid? Like, what's wrong with them? That would have been the story. So that's a great point, Matt. Interesting. Well, I'm pumped. I mean, like, I don't even love Prime as much as I like. I just love original Metroid. And then all my love for the series is Metroid 1 and Super Metroid. Everything else is just gravy to me. Prime 1 was really awesome because it was so revolutionary. But after that, it's like I wanted them to go back to making kind of like haunting 2D Metroid. And I don't know, the GBA ones haven't really done it for me in the same way or whatever. But to me, this is it. Like, I just really hope the same thing we're seeing with Mario, the same thing we saw with Zelda, Nintendo gets it now. It's like you can't just keep making us like do the same thing in the games that we're familiar with again and again and again and expect us to be happy with it. Mm-hmm. I hope Prime 4 gets a complete like kind of remake in terms of like gameplay mechanics or concepts. I hope it's way harder. The way Breath of the Wild defined like new level of difficulty from Nintendo. Like they don't have to hold our hand anymore. I'm optimistic. This is like the most negative thing I could almost say about the whole press conference is I feel bad because I know that Metroid 4 we won't be seeing that for a year minimum, probably a year and a half, Christmas.
And it won't come out for like 3 years.
I know. I wouldn't even be surprised. It's like, that's the only bummer that it's like.
It's in development now. Think of Zelda when they said, it's going to be ready for 2014. It's like 3 years later it comes out. So
it's a bummer.
Don't get your hopes up.
But whatever. So.
Which also kind of leads into the next topic of Pokemon, because that definitely won't be out for at least 2 to 3 years. They even said in the announcement,
I don't think so. I think it's sooner than that.
Really? So for clarification for people, the director, whatever his name was like, yeah, it'll be at least a year out. I guess to me it depends on what kind of game it is. They did say core Pokemon RPG, but
Pokemon
I guess that
Stars next fall.
Yeah, if it's like a Pokemon Stars thing where it's not like a new generation, it's just a port kind of thing. Like I could see that, of course, coming out sooner. If it's like a Gen 8 or whatever, like that's going to be a couple of years, especially since the TV show just started, and those usually go for like 3 years before the next gen comes out. So. But,
they wouldn't announce a new Pokemon game if this were a new generation and it were that far out. They just don't do that with Pokemon, and it's a Pokemon company. They kind of get the choice on when to announce stuff. They just don't do that. They always announce usually within the year because they have Pokemon games that come out so often that they can't announce more than a year in advance because people lose interest or they usually have something else planned. So personally, I think it's either Pokemon Stars or I think this is a slight possibility. They're doing something that's like a big deal, kind of like reinventing in terms of either making it MMOE or like something to do with Switch's home console and take it on the go experience, like changing it up in some way. But I don't think that's happening. I think it is just Pokemon Stars.
How mad are you guys
next fall?
How mad are you guys going to be if it's really just like, hey, you Pikachu number 2?
No, they said it's not going to be. Yeah. They're like, we're making sure like you don't come back and like get disappointed. This is funny because it's the same thing with Metroid where people were saying, oh man, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for 3DS, this kind of blows. And then they're like, shut up, we're doing the Switch thing, go away. But that's why I'm kind of dubious of if they're going to do a Stars thing, because they're already they just announced Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And for Unoclay and non-Pokemon people, they usually make a new generation and then they do either some kind of follow-up, whether it's a direct sequel or a third version kind of thing. And then there's probably like a year gap of something else, and then like a next.
Well, they'll make a remake then.
Yeah, or a remake after that, and then like a next gen. So, yeah, that's why I'm not really sure if they're gonna do Stars, unless it like maybe launched next November or something. But even then, wouldn't that feel a bit redundant? Like you played Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then the next year you played like a sort of sequel thing, and then the next year it's like it's again a sort of sequel thing. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. They do it though to sell Switches because it would sell Switches.
Probably. I just don't know if they would dip into the same gen that much.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, I've got to head out. It's been nice chatting to all you guys. Thanks for coming, Kylie. What I want to I'll plug my Twitter really quick. I'm just interrupting the podcast if that's all right, Matt.
Yep, go for it.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Paulo Salon. Let me know what you thought about the conference. Check out my article on Nintendo Enthusiast. Was there anything else I wanted to add?
Check out his YouTube channel, Nintendo Network 64. He also posted a video about that.
I actually made 2 videos. Now they're bad because I just recorded myself. It wasn't like a nice review thing.
Way to go. I made this nice plug for you and you crapped all over it.
There was a nice blog. My blog is very well written, or you can see my beautiful face on my YouTube channel. But I mean, the videos probably have good content, but my face isn't that beautiful, so you'll have to go see for yourself.
You're a charming young man. I would never swipe left on you.
Oh, thanks, Clay. What I wanted to point out is I have Ever Oasis in my possession. It comes out next Friday, so tune in next week if you want to hear about it, because I can talk about it.
What game is that? Nice. Ever Oasis?
Yeah, the RPG on the 3DS.
Yeah, the one that everyone forgets existed.
Yeah, but it's not bad. Okay, let me tell you. I won't talk about it too much, but I'm gonna say it's much better than I anticipated. But that's partly because I didn't have high expectations for it. But it's not bad. All right.
Don't break your embargo, man. Be careful there.
There actually is no embargo for me talking about it. I just can't give it a score until next Thursday.
Oh, weird. All right.
See you guys. Nice talking to you.
See you later. Now that we've gotten rid of that douche,
that guy's out of here.
Finally.
Now we can talk about Wii Music HD.
Yeah.
So what's I was in the chat. I was just asking Kylie what's his status on Pokemon, because I'm not the guy who can comment on it. So what's where are you in the world of Pokemons?
Yeah, so I played the original way back. I remember I was actually in high school and had a group of buddies. We would during our lunch break trade Pokemon and stuff. So I was pretty into it way back then, but I just fell off. I've been kind of out of touch with the series for a long time, kind of waiting for, I guess, the right time maybe to jump back in. I know the games have changed a lot since last time I played them, so it'd be a steep learning curve for me. But hey, maybe this new Switch one will be the one. I'm hoping they do like he was saying, maybe revamp the series somehow with this new entry. But a lot of time is going to be we'll tell the story on that.
Mm-hmm. The Sun and Moon actually did a pretty good job of changing up the series quite a bit. They got rid of the HMs. So before, if you want to traverse the world, you had to give a Pokemon a specific move, but you also couldn't remove it unless you went to some other guy. It was really convoluted, and I don't know why it lasted so long. So they got rid of that. And you could just use moves without having to take up one of your move slots, and a bunch of other things that it changed up. So that did a pretty good job. But The one thing that they haven't done a good job of is introducing new players. Like, they don't really explain the mechanics well. It's just like, yeah, there's like 18 different types, and they all have 4 different levels of effectiveness, either 0, 50%, 1 times multiplier, whatever, and then double. And it's like, yeah, well, try to figure out all those combinations. Usually you can get through without really knowing any of it, but yeah, maybe they'll do something interesting with it and make it easier for new players to jump in again. So moving along, Skyrim was announced for the Switch basically when the Switch was announced, and now we got a couple more details on it. It's coming this fall. We still don't have a date, weirdly enough. It has Amiibo support, and you can get Zelda unlockables, so you can get like the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield and the Breath of the Wild shirt. It only showed the Link Archer, so I don't know if it's exclusive to that or they just use that because the most recent Link or something. I'm sure you can probably use other Amiibo of some kind. This one, it also has motion control support, includes all the DLC, and the verdict is still out on if it's the remastered version or not. It looks like it has some elements of it. I'm not sure. Just like different effects and whatnot to make it look prettier. But Unoclay, I know you haven't played Skyrim, but I guess, Kylie, you haven't either since you only have a Nintendo console, right?
Yeah, that's right. I've never played Skyrim.
So are you interested in this? Because it's like an adventure game similar to Zelda kind of thing?
Yeah, I am interested. I wonder how, me being new to it, how it's aged, but I know it's, really critically praised. So, I mean, do you think someone like me that's, it's a game that's a few years old and coming off of Zelda Breath of the Wild, do you think that I'll like it, or what do you think?
I guess depends. Do you play a bunch of adventure games? Like, how much would you rate adventure games on like your... How much do you like adventure games is a better way of phrasing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my bread and butter. That's like my favorite style of game is adventure.
Okay, so you get a bunch of different attacks. You have different different skills you can upgrade, like stealth and I think arrows and like lock picking and all this other... There's a lot of depth to it with how many different skills you can get. And you have, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 8 different character races with their own abilities. And there's a lot of side quests and different magic spells and stuff you can learn and a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, I think if you like an adventure game, it'll be great. And it probably helps you haven't played other Elder Scrolls games because I've heard people like Morrowind better. I haven't played any of the other ones. I only played Skyrim when that came out for PS3. But I really liked it, and I think I'll really like it as well.
So what do you think of this Switch version? Is this something you're going to want to pick up?
Not really, because I already played, I think, 100 hours of it before, and I know a lot of people will replay it a bunch because you can have replay it with a different race character, like not like white, black, or whatever, but like a cat person or a lizard person or like an elf or a dwarf or whatever, that kind of thing.
Right.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I think I got my fill of it, and even though it could be different using other characters, I don't know, I'm just kind of over it. There's plenty of other games I kind of want to get to, so I think it's great for people who haven't played it because now that it's portable, it'll be so much easier to play this game because, there's so much to it, right? So you don't have to sit in front of a TV and be dedicated to that.
I personally cannot wait. Like, the funny thing is, like, it's like almost like a confession for me. The only reason I don't play games on other systems, because like I want the things other systems offer. I want difficulty. I want bigger experiences. I want complex, deep games like Zelda that like keep me going for like weeks. Where like I can tonight, after we get done recording, I'm gonna go pour myself a drink. I'm gonna sit down for like an hour and a half and like wander around aimlessly in Zelda and like accomplish a few things and explore and be surprised. I want stuff like that, but I in my past, on other consoles, I just never have that like kind of charm. We don't have to go into it. We're a Nintendo podcast, for God's sake. If you're listening for an hour and a half to guys talk about these Nintendo, do the review of the Nintendo E3 conference. You like Nintendo too. You get it. It has a certain personality that other systems or other producers typically don't have. Skyrim isn't by Nintendo, but I do like an adventure game. This looks like really cool. what I wanted to know, I wanted to ask some things. I'm definitely on board. I'm going to buy it no matter what, like no matter what the reviews are, because I've never played it either, and so I want to at least try it out and support it. I want to ask you guys, like, or I guess Matt, since you know more about it, is Skyrim, first of all, is it a massive like multiplayer RPG where there's other people online in your game, or is it mostly a single player experience?
Single player.
Okay, all right, so that's one, because I was wondering how that was going to work with Switch if it was multiplayer. That was like, well, what's it going to be like when you're not like tied into a network or whatever? But okay, that answers that. The second question is, I heard or read somewhere, I don't recall where, this is like a while ago when it was revealed, is that in comparison to Breath of the Wild, somebody made they expressed the thought that they thought maybe Skyrim will feel oddly empty or devoid of like enemies or adventure, because Breath of the Wild is so kind of like dense with like activity and life. I would almost, like, the way I read it, I compared it in my mind to the way I never got through Twilight Princess. Every time I've ever tried Twilight Princess, A, I find it too linear and I get bored of it. And B, all those planes and all that riding my horse around is really kind of boring because there's nothing there. Like, I'm just like, I never liked that game very much. And I've tried twice, as I've recounted on the podcast. I don't mean to hate on it. I know a lot of people like it, but I get about 8-10 hours into it. And I'm like, I don't care about this game, like, at all. That would be my only worry. Like, that Skyrim maybe pales in comparison. Is that in any way valid?
So it might be a weird step from Breath of the Wild. For one, you can't climb on everything, which is good.
Yeah.
That's going to be weird just playing any adventure game after that game, because you're like, oh, here's the thing, I'm going to climb all over it, even though it doesn't make sense. It's just such a good feeling. But no, I don't think it's anywhere close as empty as Twilight Princess, because you could walk for like minutes and it's like, oh, here's 2 enemies and you like kill them, and it's like, well, you don't really get much out of that. Where, I mean, in Breath of the Wild, you still do have to walk around before meeting some enemies and camps and stuff. And the same thing with Skyrim, you'll walk like a little bit. I think it's comparable to Breath of the Wild in that case, but you'll have a lot of, for one thing, you can have a lot of different variety. You're going to have different NPCs you can talk to. There's going to be some people who probably want to kill you for some reason. You can attack other people and they'll hate you and kill you. There's shops you can go in and steal from if you want, and then they might try to attack you from that. There's a ton of quests you can do. You can find like caves and then go in there, and that's kind of its own dungeon sort of thing, and there's a boss at the end and like different items you can get from it. So I think there's plenty enough in there to do.
That sounds awesome, and I'm definitely buying it. Like, I remember when it was very popular, when it was originally released, I had friends that were talking a lot about it and said they really enjoyed it. I'm going to buy it. This is a funny story, and it's a little bit of a sidetrack, so I'll keep it short. But you totally triggered a memory that I wanted to tell in the podcast, and I forgot. So Philadelphia has a massive celebration called Beer Week. We're one of the biggest Beer Week celebrations in the world, we claim. I know in America we are. It's insane. For example, for a whole week, there are 20 different like events in the city that are related to like high-end beer, like that you can go out and there's specials, and there's like, it's just crazy. It's so much fun, and people come in and visit from all over to go to it. It's kind of like a week of like almost Mardi Gras-esque beer events in Philadelphia, where I live. So naturally, I was inebriated, I will confess, a couple times last week during Beer Week. So one night, I get home, and I'm like, I need to play a video game. I'm like, and before I go to bed. So I put on I think I put in it was Watch Dogs on Wii U, which I still haven't finished because I keep getting into the side quests and stuff like that. And I just needed something just to play for a few minutes. So I naturally just grabbed my grenade launcher and go all GTA style and Watch Dogs. I just start a fight with some cops and start blowing up cop cars from the top of a building. And, I'm just doing the classic sandbox, horrible thing. And so I'm running from police, and there's helicopters chasing me and all this stuff. And I'm like down by a riverbed, and remember, I'm inebriated, and the cops have me kind of cornered, and I'm trying to climb the side of the bridge, and I'm like hitting the button that would have been like jump, like the X button or whatever in Zelda, and I'm like, why won't this fucking guy climb this button? And I'm like completely seriously confused by it. Like, I'm like, I haven't played it for a few weeks, but I know like they're shooting me. Like I gotta climb this bridge. I can't die. And I'm like laying there on the ground dead and losing my progress. And I'm like completely confused by it. And it came to me eventually. I'm like, this isn't Zelda. The first clue should have been the part where I blew up the cop car.
Yeah, there's a cop car and a cop.
But the second part is I can't climb the side of a building, or a bridge or whatever it was. It was complete brain fart, and it was all the funnier when I realized it because I'm sitting there like, just like, is the game broken? Like, what's wrong with this game? Yeah, it was Breath of the Wild, like screwing with me. It was great. It was. I just was laughing so hard I couldn't believe it when I realized what was going on. I was like, I need to play a different game. Is what this is telling me.
Well, the funny thing is, Ubisoft is like known for their games having a lot of climbing in it. Like you got to climb a tower and climb all these different things. So it kind of like makes sense.
Right.
Because like Assassin's Creed, you can like climb up the side of windows and stuff.
This was even more pathetic. Because it was only like a tiny little bridge, like the edge of a bridge I was trying to get up. It was like, it would have been something Link like would have climbed in literally like 5 seconds if you have enough stamina. You would have like been like 3 jumps and you're up it, and I'm like, go! Like there's a freaking helicopter shooting me. Like it was great. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I totally derailed there, but I had to tell that anecdote. It was the funniest thing in gaming that happened to me in a week. So anyway, what else we got?
We'll move on to the next game. So Kirby was shown off, and Eli's kind of gone, but I really like Kirby, and I didn't know Kylie likes Kirby as well. The trailer starts off, and within 10 seconds, it shows off like cleaning Kirby, where he has like this little bandana and like this little broom, and looks really cute. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm one already. Like you got me, I'm good. And then the rest of the game, it was really cool. It was basically I don't know if you saw this before, Kylie, but they had a canceled GameCube game that was basically exactly this, where you can befriend enemies and they'll tag along with you, and you can also like steal them and use their abilities and whatnot. And Clean Kirby was shown off in that as well, and I was just kind of excited to see that was returning. And they even have a Kirby 64 element where you can combine your power with one of your befriended with one of your friends. So one of them was like Kirby has a bomb power and he has like a water guy with him, and they make like this water bomb kind of thing. So it looks like it's bringing a bunch of cool elements back. But Kylie, what's your interest in the Kirby series?
Nice, yeah. So I like Kirby games pretty well. I'm especially kind of looking forward to this one. I like the multiplayer aspect. It looked like you can have maybe up to 4 playable characters at a time. I'm assuming those will all be player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, not just because I know a lot of it they showed like you can take control of the computer and have a computer partner. But I do have 2 younger daughters that I think would be totally into this, and I can see the 3 of us, sitting down for some co-op Kirby, and just going after it.
Nice.
This is some great context to hear you guys talk about this, because like I completely didn't even watch. Like, not to be a hater, I was like, Kirby, time to do some work. Like that was literally my reaction. Like so it's got multiplayer. That does sound interesting. I should probably check it out at least to like know a little bit about it. They're not my cup of tea, but I'm glad to hear it looks good. I mean, Kirby's popular. It seems like they make a lot of them anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed a bit that they didn't really do anything kind of new. Like with the 3DS, they had a normal Kirby, and then, or sort of normal, I guess. They had some different abilities there, but they had like Planet Robobots, so you're in like this mech suit and stuff. So I'm kind of disappointed they didn't. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot new to it yet, besides like the tag team kind of aspect, which is kind of cool. But there have been multiplayer Kirby games before, and we're also still getting a multiplayer Kirby game for the 3DS, which they didn't announce yet. We're recording this Wednesday, so maybe I don't know how long E3 goes for the Treehouse event, so maybe they'll show it tomorrow, because they did show off another 3DS game before. When I was writing up this list, it's basically a sushi Bejeweled kind of game, It's not really worth talking about because it looks like basically an eShop game, but I think they're selling for retail price. But so they might announce that during this week. But yeah, so that'll be weird getting a bunch of Kirby games apparently.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm not against it. I should probably take a look at it. Like I said, like it's all I just it's one of those things I tune out. It's like Fire Emblem and Kirby. I tune out because I'm like, there's the off chance I will play this game someday, but the backlog,
Mm-hmm.
the first world problem of the backlog, it never ends, and my retro obsession is just not going away. I will say that the stack of backlog for my retro stuff is 5 times as big as my modern stack. So it's like, I just, it's the kind of thing I tune out because I'm like, between the mainline Nintendo stuff I care about, which to some gamers who eat games for lunch wouldn't be enough to sustain them. I know Kylie and me are, I know Kylie with 3 kids. God, I can't even imagine the amount of time you have for games is probably very small. And Matt, you got your own life and all that kind of stuff. Like the time that some people can sink into games, I just don't know where they got it. So it's the kind of thing where it's like, I'm not against it. It's just like very little chance. Like the new Yoshi game is higher on my ranking of worrying about. And that's even low because I'm like, well, it's never going to be Yoshi's Island again. So it just always sucks. It's like,
what are you, Mike?
It's,
it's never going to be this. Everything else is trash. Don't even bother.
Well, Woolly World was like good, but it's not Yoshi's Island, so it's just like, what? So
don't be a poohead.
Nah, hey, dude. I mean, Yoshi's Island is a masterpiece. It's just hard to recapture that flame. Like it's just a fact. Like so, yeah, no, it's not out of not wanting to like it. I've played almost all the way through like Woolly World, and it's a decent game. It's really cool, but it's different. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
So
the Yoshi game I don't think looked different. Like it's cute. Like I like the art style or whatever, but it kind of also reminds me of the first trailer for Woolly World where it was kind of like empty. It just looks a little too early, I guess. Like they didn't put a solid date. They just said 2018, so a lot could change. But yeah, I wasn't really crazy about that. I don't know. We'll see. Moving along. So too bad Mike's not here, but Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga is one of his favorite. No, it is his favorite Mario and Luigi game. It's definitely a great game, I think. Now they're doing a remake of it with a little, I guess, side quest or a little bonus thing, Bowser's Minions. I didn't really get a good look at it on the Treehouse, but at the very least, it's a remake with some extra content, and you can use the Goomba and Koopa Troopa amiibo with it. But Kylie, you seemed interested in this. I guess, what's your level of interest, and have you played the original before?
So I actually own the original on Game Boy Advance. I picked it up for cheap, but I have never played it. I just kind of a collector thing, stumbled upon it. I've always heard good things. I actually think the only Mario and Luigi game I played was the Bowser Inside Story.
That's fine. It's a great one.
Yeah, it's really good. The humor, and the kind of the overworld stuff I really liked in that one. So I'm totally all about this one. It's kind of, I didn't really get to see a lot of the new mode they added to it. Like, is it kind of like a strategy style game or something? Or did you see anything on that, Matt?
I didn't really get a good look at it. From what I remember from like stalling while I'm Googling. The quick look I got from it was you have like 2 different sides. There's a Goomba with like a flag on his head, and I guess so there's 2 different sides. Your army, I guess it's the Bowser's army. From the story, there's Bowser has a bunch of minions, and they have like their own kind of ragtag team. So I guess they're fighting another team of minions for whatever reason, not Despicable Me minions, but something else. Yeah, I don't really know how it works. I remember they had a bottom screen and there were 3 different options. It was like deny, do 2 other actions, and use coins to do it. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but it's definitely not like a take your turn RPG kind of thing. It was, I don't want to say it was a real-time strategy because it's not, but everything is running in real time, and you like make actions based off of that. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we name dropped Audrey Drake earlier. I think I saw her kind of playing it a little bit. And I mean, she looked like she was having a blast. So, I'm down. I'm probably going to pick that one up too. I think.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm actually interested in this because like I have a pretty bad memory, even for games I've played, and like the Mario and Luigi games have blurred together a little bit for me because I played them over years. But I'm pretty sure I never played Superstar Saga, which is the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the very first Mario, right?
Yeah.
So like I think I played everything after that up to like the very recent ones, like which I heard from you guys were like only okay, so I skipped it. Well, I shouldn't even say. I guess I played maybe 3 of them. I played, Partners in Time and Bowser's Inside Story, maybe another one in there somewhere.
Dream Team, maybe.
No, I didn't play Dream Team. It looked interesting, but I didn't play. So maybe I've only played 2, but they blur together because then there's Paper Mario and stuff like that too. So it all kind of blends together a little bit for me. Even though they're really different games, like it's just like I lumped them together in my mind. I'm gonna get this. Like I didn't really get what the new feature was. Like I'm in the boat of you guys. I was waiting for you guys to explain what the Bowser added features are. I mean, if they're advertising it to have added features, I'm sure they'll be decent enough to make it worth my money. Because I'm imagining this will be priced at more of a $30-$40 game, probably 40 knowing Nintendo. Release. And just clarify for me, this is 3DS, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I'm not interested, because if it was for, like I said before when we heard rumors about it, if it was for Switch and it was like nice, clean vector art, like maybe one of the Paper Mario games, or maybe it looked kind of hand-drawn, even if it wasn't, like I'd probably get it because it would look really nice, but it doesn't look, I guess, different enough from the original for me to like be wowed by it. Because for me, for a remake, I don't really go back and replay games, because for me, once I beat it, I got my fill, and I don't really, why would I bother replaying it again, because I just did that sort of thing. But if it was like enough of a visual difference, I'd probably do it, and especially since it's been so much time. Same with Wind Waker, I was like, oh, it looks nicer, sure, I'll buy it, even though I could whip out the GameCube one. But yeah, to me, it doesn't look enough of a difference for me to
Interesting.
get it.
Like that's yeah, I couldn't remember. It's funny when it got announced, I couldn't remember if it was you or Mike that was like really like into it. I remembered I knew like one of my friends from the podcast, like this is gonna be like it for them, and I couldn't think of which one of it was. That's funny. Yeah, our missing in action co-host Mike was in his glory for that. Hopefully, you never know with him. He might be hating it. He'd be like, dude, why would I want to play a remake? You know what I mean? Like he might go off on it the wrong way, but. For me, it's neat because it's one of those games that's kind of on my radar. I like playing old GBA games. I miss GBA entirely. I never played any of those games. I never had a GBA. So it's like, to me, it's like, all right, like a chance to play one of the ones that's legendary in an updated format, which saves me some time of like buying a cartridge and hunting it down, like whatever. Anyway, I'm excited about it. I thought it was cool. I like those games. I don't want to play them all the time. They're all pretty samey from my experience, of like the mechanics, and this one's going back really far, so I'm expecting the mechanics to be like really rudimentary compared to like where the series goes later. But I love the humor in them, the light humor and the kind of adventure-y, like the button pressing mechanic, like during the attacks, keeps me interested. But more to the point, more interesting than that is I'm in that weird boat of like some people take their Switch everywhere now. Some people use it as a home console. I've said it before, but I don't really take it places because the number one place I travel is through the city on a train, and the Switch is just kind of bulky, and I'm not hating on it. I love my Switch, but it's a little bulky to carry around with me. I need to carry the little man purse that I bought for it, the little case, and I already carry a shoulder bag because I ride my bicycle a lot. So I'm one of those dudes that always has a large sack over my shoulder already. Now I could very easily start a habit of having my little lunchbox for my Switch inside my shoulder bag, but it's so big it takes up easily half my shoulder bag. Like if I put it in there, and now I have to be really careful because I got a $300 piece of machinery in there, and my 3DS is my warhorse, kind of. I'm like, it rides with me everywhere. I rode bike probably 3 miles today. It was in my sack on my shoulder the whole time, because if I get stuck in a line at the post office or the grocery store or wherever, I got something to do for a couple minutes. Switch is just a different thing. For a plane, yes. For a long car trip, yes. For a trip, away from home for more than a couple hours, yes. But for like my quick everyday stuff, 3DS is still where I'm at. So like, I'm glad to see like significant games coming to 3DS, because I'm like, this is good. Like I want this Metroid game just cause, but like also, I want this Shovel Knight like extra content, and a Mario and Luigi game will be perfect. I'm firmly in the camp of, don't let 3DS die. Keep supporting it. I need games to play on this other system that I take with me a little more often for more casual, quick experiences. So, I don't know, but I'm glad.
So a quick overview. I've just kind of been watching this gameplay, try to get an idea of it. It looks like your team automatically attacks, and sometimes it'll bring up button prompts for you to mash A and whatnot. But it looks like you're commanding them, and these different commands take up different amounts of coins that you can bet. So like, you want to rally them, it's going to cost 4 coins, but I guess you have a limited amount of coins for that turn, so you got to kind of ration off your how many coins you want to use. But it's that that sort of thing. Can't even speak anymore. So yeah, you have to probably watch more of it to get a better idea. But
when's did they say when this is coming out? I don't remember.
I don't remember seeing a date. Here's the trailer. Oh, October 6th.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah, I figured it couldn't be that far.
A lot of games to buy this year. Holy crap. It's another one.
Yeah, definitely.
Neat. I mean, like there's so much. Oh my God. Like, this is going to be an expensive year for Nintendo purchasing. Like, I'm just realizing, like, wow.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to bring that up, actually, the schedule. So Nintendo was saying they wanted at least one big game a month and keep that momentum going. And they're actually doing a pretty good job of it and sticking to that, which is something they couldn't do with a bunch of other consoles. So just going since release, because it's not that much further away. So release in March, they had Zelda. And then in April, they had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. May, they didn't really have anything, but that's fine. 1 month break is all right. June, they're having ARMS plus Zelda DLC. July, they're having Splatoon 2. August, they're having Mario and Rabbids. September is the Pokken Tournament DX port. October is Super Mario Odyssey. And then November, I just kind of threw Fire Emblem Warriors in. It said fall. It could launch earlier than that, but let's just say that for the sake of not having a gap. And then let's say December 2 is possibly Xenoblade. So it seems like they're doing a pretty good job. Yeah.
And that's not even to mention like all the like small stuff like that.
Yeah.
I already have a wish list on my Switch that's like nutty. Like just stuff I'm casually interested in, but I keep thinking, I'll eventually get that. A lot of that Neo Geo stuff that I've never played, and I'm never going to buy a Neo Geo. Most likely, it's not a console I'm super, never is a big word, but it's not a console I'm super interested in. And then it's like, and just all the little games that are like slated to come at some point. I mean, we've talked not as even much on the podcast, but we've talked about the idea that like to the listeners that are still here at almost 2 hours, part of the reason we don't like do a segment of just listing all the new games that are coming is because it's not that interesting, and frankly it's just like constant. Like lately, like a very first world good problem to have is like every day there's another like little announcement from some other indie company saying it might be coming to Switch or is coming to Switch. So all that stuff is like on my radar too. A lot of that stuff I'm frankly really interested in, like stuff I'm definitely going to buy as much as likely as like mainline Nintendo releases. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy, expensive year. Like, it's good. It's a good thing. It was our biggest worry about the Switch, or at least it was mine. Like that we were gonna be like, well, what are we gonna play? And I think they're answering that question.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff coming.
Yeah, ARMS in like days.
Yeah, I forgot that I bought it and that it was coming. I was like, oh right, that's this Friday. It's in 2 days from now. And then I watched the tournament. And that was pretty fun.
Kylie, are you getting ARMS this weekend?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Oh, nice. I'll have someone else to play with.
I'm looking forward to picking it up myself. I've spent way too much money lately, but I'm gonna have to pony up that $64 or whatever it'll end up costing. I'm sure, Matt, with your Canuck dollars, you're even like looking at a little more than that. So I got to get that up. Is that Friday or Saturday that comes out?
Friday.
Oh man, coming up.
I was kind of undecided on it going into the test punch, but what kind of sealed the deal for me was the second test punch I got to sit in on. I didn't even get to play because my kids were loving it so much. They were having a blast. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I'm way more. We've talked a lot about it, but like I'm way more excited for Splatoon. And my biggest worry is that like the depth on this will not last. But I'm willing to give it a try. It seems pretty cool. It's got some clever. My arms are gonna hurt. That's not a joke.
I don't know. I think that person might have been boasting a bit that too much because I've played plenty of other games and I'm like, people have had problems and it's like, really, it's not that hard. You just don't physically get up and like you don't have to get up and move around like make these ginormous gestures. You can literally use your wrist. It still works.
I'm speaking to you from 15 years in your future, and I'm telling you, my shoulders are going to hurt, and I'm not joking.
Okay, that's fine, but I mean, like these journalists are like, yeah, I'm 30 years old and I hurt my arms. It's like, okay, come on, buddy, like, don't make an exercise out of it. You'll be fine.
Good.
Yeah, you brought that up. I was actually wondering, is ARMS gonna have a life? I set that up really stupidly. My question was, is ARMS going to have like legs after Splatoon 2? So basically ARMS comes out and then a month later Splatoon is out. Is that enough time for them to get like a community where it can carry itself on? Or do you think it's too short and it's just going to get overrun by Splatoon?
They definitely could be poaching their own audience there. But I mean, and I'm wondering why they did that like that way. I mean, maybe the idea is that they're like making it the summer of fighting games, that they're like, or whatever. Well, they're not even the same. One's a fighting game, one's a shooter game, but there is a similarity there that you're noticing. I think it will pirate some of its own, but at the same time, in their mind, they're like, keep the fire burning hot is kind of the mindset. It's like keep the fire hot when it's hot. Like people are loving Nintendo. They definitely are smart to put the unfamiliar game first, and then go with the Splatoon, because if they did it the other way around, it might be like, well, I don't want to buy this ARMS game. Like I've got Splatoon and I'm playing it all the time. So it will be interesting. I mean, God, I'm not going to have time for all this. This is what I think to myself. So.
All right. So Ubisoft announced a pretty neat game. It's called Starlink: A Battle for Atlas, which is weird because it's basically a Toys to Life game during a time where there's too many Toys to Life games, and I'm pretty sure they're all dying. So I don't know why they decided to introduce it, but it's kind of different and neat where it's all based off of starships. So they show like, oh, you can add like a Gatling gun on your side, and in the game it'll add that, and you can use that and that sort of thing. And Kylie seemed, from what I got, was the only person who was interested in this. I didn't even think about your kids, but is that partly why you're interested in it?
Yeah, I mean, the Toys to Life thing, I don't know. It's been a weird announcement, really, from Ubisoft. Nobody saw this one coming. It was kind of an odd time. You've got Disney Infinity died off. I think Skylanders, I'm sure, probably isn't as strong as it was once, and Amiibo, they're still doing really good, but it's just kind of a weird choice to mix, this kind of, I don't know, it looks more, not not geared straight for kids, it's more of like a sci-fi genre with what looks like Toys to Life. I don't know, it's kind of just a strange announcement. I'm excited to see where it goes, but a little bit optimistic about it, but also hesitant.
Yeah, and the weird thing about the trailer was that they have this attachment that it attaches to your controller. I don't really know why that's the case. Like maybe it uses motion controls, but I don't know if the Xbox One controller has motion controls in it. So I guess they didn't want to make like a specific platform, and maybe they just want you to change things on the fly.
Yeah, It's got to be that, right? Because the way it mounts on the different controllers, they're gonna have to be different setups. So
Yeah. And I think we'll end on this one last topic. Sorry for making it long. Is Bubsy's making a return?
I thought you were kidding about that. I thought
it. So I saw the trailer and I'm like, okay, is this like a joke or something? Because the thing is, I don't want to be mean to the devs, but the game looks pretty crappy. Like it looks like a student kind of project, which would be fine for a student project, but not really like an actual game. So I'm like, did someone just put this together and it's like one collective joke and you're like waiting for the aha moment or someone to come out and say like it's a joke, and then you're waiting and no one's saying anything and you're like, oh, they're serious about this. I didn't even know people had the rights to this thing still.
The funniest thing is I don't really know much about Bubsy or anything. I know it's a meme. I know that apparently just not have ever looked it up, I can gather from the context that one of the Bubsy games is one of the worst games of all time. But that's the funny thing. Like when you put it in the notes for planning the episode, I thought it was a gag. So we're coming full circle here. Wii Music is real and Bubsy is also real, right?
Exactly.
Man, I don't even know what to say. This is for Switch? Bubsy's coming to Switch?
No, it's not even coming to Switch.
Okay.
I think it's only like Steam, and it's either PS4 or Xbox One. It's only one of those consoles, I think. I think it's like coming to Xbox, but not PS4. It's really weird. I don't know.
That's pretty crazy. Bubsy, welcome back, brother. Don't come to Switch.
On a scale from 1 to 10, Kylie, how excited are you for this new amazing Bubsy game?
I'm an 11, man.
Yeah, turn it up to 11 for Bubsy. Neat. Well, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad to hear it. We're breaking out of our format of Nintendo news and going to the Bubsy podcast network here, so yeah, it's cool.
You can't not bring it up. It's just so weird.
It's just got to be mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Well, excellent, man. We made it through. We covered E3 in brief. Oh
my gosh,
that's a lot.
Yeah,
briefs.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on everything.
Oh man, it's too much. Yeah, Nicalis announced a bunch of games. They have some weird game where they have a bunch of random characters coming together in a fighting game. I don't know why. It's a bunch of stuff.
Bunch of stuff. We did good though. We covered a lot of things. So we tried.
That we did.
It's a good time to be a Nintendo fan. I mean, like that's the real takeaway from this. It's like there's too much to talk about. Like, I mean, you might not want to play it all, but nobody ever said you need to play every video game. It's like there's a lot of video games here that are pretty cool. Like to look forward to, and something for everybody. Kind of Eli said that in his very beginning, that it was like, well, like the press conference was good because it was like a lot of different ideas, a lot of something for everybody kind of ideas, and that's evidenced, like by what we're talking about. So I'd say good times.
Yep. And so I think we'll wrap it up there for this week. Thanks, Kylie, so much for coming on and staying with us for this long.
Dude, totally.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's fun.
It was great. So you can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and VidMe. Unoclay, where can people find you?
You can find me on my really lifeless Twitter feed where it's called Unoclay_Switch. I'll probably make that channel a little more active in the future with some stuff I'm planning. Might do some videos and some stuff and connect it with my Switch Twitter profile. So be the cool guy who gets in on the ground floor before it was popular. Clay_Switch. You can see me make comments about things like playing Silver Surfer on NES until my hand goes numb and stuff like that. So that's it. And my IGN, of course, I'm still Clay1 over there. We'll get it back to life someday, Kylie. We'll get it started again.
Keeping the dream alive.
Keep the dream alive. That's right.
And Kylie, where can people find you if you want them to follow you?
Yeah.
I should have asked that beforehand. You're forced.
Probably
You got
the
to
best
say it
place
now.
is,
You're gonna have.
yeah, I know.
the
I'm on the spot. I'll just
Yeah.
say something fake. No, no. Just check me out on Twitter. It's at KylieMale, KylieMale. I'll try to get my Switch friend ID up there, so maybe I can make some friends. Maybe we can play some ARMS this weekend or something.
Nice.
Heck yeah, man! Looking forward to it.
I don't know why, but I always pronounced your username as KylieMale. I think it was just because it would have fit well, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna pronounce it wrong on purpose because screw how you wrote it. I'm just gonna make it up. Oh man, but it was great having you. It's a lot of fun having a guest, especially one that was in our community for so long.
Heck yeah,
yeah.
We'll get the band back together one of these days.
There you go.
All right.
So, Matt.
All right. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on basically every platform on the internet. You can hit me up if you want to be a guest or send me questions at the Mega Viking. So we'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.
Thank you, dear Lord Jesus.
Nice.